How it's evolved over time was when big industry was here, big industry left, it's shown its natural beauty again with the rolling hills, the beautiful forests, the bald eagle population growing, the trails, the waterways, the wildlife activities you can be part of, quality of life out of your back door is something that's going to be the next wave of the future.
We are working hard to make sure Euclid is a vibrant community, welcoming to all, a great place to live, work, and visit.
There's a huge amount of pride that goes with our trail network. People will say, kind of like before the trail was here and after the trail was here. People will use this for transportation, they'll use it for recreation.
The East Liverpool trail front really goes beyond economic development. Obviously that's a huge part of what we're trying to do here, but it ties back into that quality of life, the lifestyle that we would like to see our residents the ability to have.
The Greenway Trail has always been important to the village. I think, however, we're starting to realize just how important it can be.
I want to make sure that more people recognize that this is about everybody. It's where you can go from home, ride your bike to the trail, and if you decide to get off and walk, you could walk through a neighborhood, to a neighborhood, past a neighborhood, and everybody would be involved.
What we as leaders need to do is show, hey, there are economic benefits. If we boost the trail, this is going to create jobs. And those new jobs will be paying taxes, which will be used to improve public services.
We're hearing great things from businesses and residents. I think they're really excited about the new energy that they're seeing here, the new vibrancy.
My advice to any city leader, just open those lines of communication, whether it's to other mayors in the county or the county officials and state, even at the state level. What went well with their trail? What could we learn from them, and how could we do it better?
The motivation to connect our community to the waterfront really came from the residents. So the beauty of our plan is that it was citizen-led, that we started by going to the community, asking them what they wanted, and built the plan from that. The role of elected officials really was to provide the vision, to provide the funding, really to keep this project going.
Part of what we could be doing as legislators is making sure that we're making those connections through our state agencies to the trails.
As a council member here in the Village of Yellow Springs, and also the Midwest Policy Manager for Rails to Trails Conservancy, the messages from this video around political will and collaboration between elected officials and constituents really resonates. And that's why I'm excited that we have council member Jenny Selin, who you met in the video, from Morgantown, West Virginia. And Jenny, I wondered if you might share a little bit more about how vital the trail network has been for your community and region.
So we took something, so I've lived here for 30 years. We took something that was, and I did not participate in the beginning, my husband did a little bit, but we took something that 30 years ago was useless, semi-industrial, old sort of waste property, and brought it back into use. And brought all of the adjacent property back into use. So that's pretty amazing when you can get an asset. I would say that what it's transformed into is something that people treat it like a main street. It's a social space. It's an economic space. Our amphitheater is along it. We have now 3 kayak launches on the river that's adjacent, and it makes it so that there's a 300-person kayaking club. They don't all go out at once, thank goodness, but it's just made it into something very, very special and something that's useful. And otherwise, it just wasn't. Now there's a remote worker program at the university, and they had thousands and thousands of people applying for a few slots to be able to come here and participate. I don't know of any other thing that's happened in our community that's made such a huge difference, that's made such a transformation.
That is so amazing to hear. And I've been able to visit your community several times, really delivering on that. Trails build healthy, thriving communities. So we also have Representative Kent Smith here, who is always one of my favorite folks to have on a panel. And, speaking of political will, Rep. Smith, it'd be great if you could share with folks the Ohio Legislative Trails Caucus and what that means for our state.
Hi, Brian. Hi, everyone. Thanks very much for having me. So yeah, the Ohio Trails Caucus was founded in 2017 by a Democratic senator and a Republican senator. They do deserve a shout out. That would be Steve Wilson and Sean O'Brien. Currently, there's 18 Democrats, 19 Republicans. But I mean, we've been able to do several things in Ohio as a result of that. We've worked with a whole collection of trail advocates with some of our state departments, and facilitated, public comment and created. I think we got 7,600 public comments on this issue, on this topic, but we were able to create a 2019 document over about 150 pages by our Ohio Department of Natural Resources, the Ohio Trails Vision, which it works to help guide future trail development, connectivity, maintenance, and funding, and kind of all the important things that can help, further the great trail system that we have in Ohio.
All right. Well, thank you, Rep. Smith. And I'm reminded of one of the other great things the caucus has done with the bipartisan collaboration. And I know you've been on a couple of our adventures on the trails where Republicans and Democrats have walked side by side and really trying to deliver on that Ohio vision that you talked about. So a question for both of you that I think will be good to go out on is, how do you think citizens, constituents can best work with their elected officials to make meaningful progress, to move things forward, like completing the Industrial Heartland Trails Coalition and a variety of other aspects? What are your recommendations for stakeholders?
Who do you want to go first?
Go for it, Jenny.
We'll start local.
Okay, yeah.
I think one of the things when you're talking about events where people are looking at this lovely asset together, looking at where a trail might be, looking at where a new bridge is, inviting leaders who may not have been included before to the opening of a little connector bridge to a neighborhood. These are assets that everyone is for. Maybe somebody, when you're first planning an area to be connected or to be used, they may be concerned that something's going to happen that's unfamiliar. But once you have it in place, it is just, people get very, very excited. And politicians love developed assets, things people can use, connected neighborhoods to business districts, places where people can play, a transportation asset so someone can commute. So it's something where we should be able to work together. Now that's a should. So we need to work on developing those partnerships and relationships, keeping people updated back and forth, political people with people who are helping to write the grants, people who are writing grants explaining that they're going to need some kind of a matching funds and how to use those state dollars. We can pass it right off to you.
All right. And Rep. Smith?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that elected officials need to be reminded that healthy communities have healthy economies, and just the economic development asset and the community development asset that the expanding trails can provide. Of course, you folks at the Industrial Heartland Trails Coalition are aware of some of the pieces of research that have been done on the economic impact, like the $7 million annual impact of the 24-mile Three Rivers Heritage Trail in Pittsburgh. I was very happy to hear that you all are going to do a bit of a deeper dive on the Euclid Lakefront Trail, which is really kind of a first of its kind development. I live in Euclid and have seen this development stall, and then when Mayor Kirsten Holzheimer Gail, who was featured in that video, came into office, she was really the galvanizing force to try to get people to trade private private owners of property along the lake to trade public access for erosion control, because erosion control was becoming so significant as the Great Lakes rose. But and that's now a best practice. And again, Wednesday you all are going to do a deeper dive on it. But I mean, I would be reminded that the outdoor, this was an industry report, but the outdoor recreation industry suggested that, outdoor recreation is, like an $800 billion industry and supports $7 million, 7 million jobs across the US. And again, what we want to do in the states represented here is make sure that our trail asset is capitalized on and is maintained and grows. Because again, as I said, kind of at the beginning, healthy communities have healthy economies.